On Countdown, if I worked out the number puzzle before the time was up, I used to play a little game.
That's where I've seen you before. So, David's team, what do you think?
What little game?
Well, on the numbers puzzle, you know, you do the press the target and the number, and then the target.
And then there's a time limit.
And then there'd be 30. You had 30 seconds to do something.
Yeah.
Well, most of the time, I'd get the answer before the clock started, so I had 30 seconds.
Before the clock started.
So you must have despised the contestants. Sitting there working away for the whole 30 seconds like morons.
What I used to do, I used to get my pen that I would write on the board with, and I used to go round all the props boys, and I used to make them tap the end of my pen, and how many could tap the end of my pen in 30 seconds was the game.
So how many props guys
yeah,
were required in the production of Countdown?
Well, Joe's been on Countdown a lot, so you know how we have someone like Harry or Vince or Stan who do the water pouring.
Carol.
And then
we had.
Oh, yeah, had. Tap my pen!
We're probably sat there. Wouldn't that be lovely?
Did you ever vary the game at all? Was it always the same game?
Sometimes.
Sometimes, here we go.
Sometimes I managed to get to the front row of the audience as well. Occasionally,
you?
a member of the audience.
Those people can't move.
Eh? Did you actually think this game...
She's gone. I'll get her next time.
Was this not distracting to the poor contestants who are trying to do some maths if out of shot?
Slightly out of shot, yes.
Yeah. I feel sorry for this new girl that's doing the numbers, because all the props guy must be going, oh, you'll have great fun on this show.
They will have said to her on the first day, are we going to play Touch the Pen? And got fired for sexual harassment. We always played Touch the Pen with Karen. Well, I'm sorry. I'm just not like that.
David, what are you and your teammates thinking?
Does it strike you as plausible?
I think
Larry?
it's flannel myself.
Flannel? That's a great word. You've been on EastEnders too long, Larry.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I missed a lot of that because as soon as Carol started describing the game, I had a sort of mental absence. I've done Dictionary Corner quite a lot. And
But you couldn't see me from Dictionary Corner, could you?
No, I couldn't.
Well, what I doubt is whether you would be allowed, when the contestants are trying to work out the math, to run around the studio getting men to touch your marker pen. Yes, well, so we think it's a lie, I think.
I think we do,
OK.
yeah.
What a surprise.
Yeah.
OK, Carol, is it truth or is it a lie?
It is true.
Now then. Oh. And do you know what? It actually is lots of fun. So, you seriously did this?
It was a ritual, and after about 15 years, it gets funny, really, when, you know...
Wow. That's what we're hoping with this show.
And you know, when I was being really cheeky, I'd take the top off, and then they all got dirty fingers.
Ken, your turn to reveal all.
I am the Mayor of London.
I was the first person in the world to breed the Congolese frog, Hymenochirus Curtipes, in captivity.
This shouldn't take long. David, why?
They are the only frog I know that has a prehensile anus. And...
You got our attention. What?
They can turn the anus into a small tube which sprays eggs or sperm in just about every general direction.
How did you make them breed?
Well, this was...
He stammered when he asked it. I love that. Sir, how did you make them breed?
Everybody else had kept them in tanks with an aerator, which bubbled away. And with the prehensile anus spraying the sperm and the eggs in all directions, if it's bubbly water, they just sink down and nothing happens. They need to stay on the surface film. So it's pure luck on my part.
Not in my wildest dreams did I ever think I'd hear Ken Livingstone say anus so many times.
You should have been around on election night.
OK, David, what is your decision?
You think it's...
I think it's a very clever lie, because we know how you like amphibians or reptiles or whatever. What is it?
Politicians.
Politicians.
You have to reach a decision.
Has he
What
had
do
a
you
lie
think?
yet, or is
Is
it
it
true?
true or false? She thinks it's a lie, see?
Right.
You can't ask members of the
Of course
audience.
you can.
What is this?
Okay, hands up who thinks it's a lie.
Hands up.
And, yeah, and who thinks it's true?
What's this? What's this? It's unheard of on this show.
What I like, Fern, is we now have a sort of a soupçon of ready, steady cook about it. So what are you going to say, then?
I think green tomatoes have got it.
Yeah? And you're saying it's...
I think, well, it was more hands up for
more
true.
for true, I think.
I'll
I think
go
we're
with
going to say
true.
it's true.
You're saying it's true? Right. Ken Livingstone, is it the truth or is it a lie?
It's true.
I once stole some toilet paper from George Michael's house.
Lee?
Was it new or used? Was it beside the bed on the floor crumpled up, or was it from a roll?
I'm amazed he has toilet paper in his house, because he's normally at the gents in the park.
Yeah, it was in his house. In the toilet. Not in the toilet, like, on the roll.
Just what were you doing at George's house?
It was a party. I think it was his birthday.
Were any of his relatives there?
You think it might. Well, I mean, what was the occasion?
Well, it was a party. What do you have parties for?
Well, I have parties for all sorts of reasons.
Well, it was one of those reasons.
All right, then. Why did you steal the paper?
A memento.
How much did you steal, Jamelia? What sort of quantities are we talking about here?
Not like just like a square.
1 square?
1 square?
And then you did this. That's not a square. That's an oblong.
The toilet paper squares are oblong. You know, they're referred to as squares, but they're not perfect squares at all. They're oblong. They're definitely longer than they are wide.
You're the only person in the world that's noticed that, David. Everyone else goes like that, just that, but not you. I say. Excuse me, darling, pass me the ruler. I think this is actually an oblong, not technically a square. Well, how long ago was it?
A few years.
3, 4 years? Give me some figures.
About 3 or 4 years.
Oh, all right, that's handy.
What's your Jimmy? No further questions, Your Honour. False. I think if you were going to steal something from George Michael's house, you would steal something a bit better than that.
Hey, what do you want? To take a flat-screen TV? I mean, there's taking a memento, and then there's just being a thief.
I think you're edging towards saying it's a lie, I suspect.
I think
Me and Jimmy think it's a lie, but Terry, if you're going to overrule us, then...
No, I'm just going to disagree. In that way, I'll look great if you're wrong.
You won't look great.
Fair enough. Hey, I'm on the... What about... Give them your brutal quipping, not me. I'm on your team.
Right, Jamelia, you're going to have a bit of brutal quipping. Go on, we'll say that's a lie, Jamelia.
OK, so, Jamelia, they're saying it's a lie. Are you telling the truth?
It is true.
One of my best friends at school was a little man I'd made from a slice of toast that I always kept in my bag.
OK. Yes, true.
Next question.
What was his name?
Tim.
Tim Toast.
In the toast man.
How did you make him?
I cut him. I actually
With
figured
scissors?
him myself.
Scissors or a knife?
Scissors.
Scissors. So you got a piece of toast, brown or white?
Good question.
Brown.
Brown toast. Was he buttered?
No, he wasn't buttered. That would be stupid, David.
I was thinking, you make yourself a piece of toast, you butter it unthinkingly before you say, oh, no, that was the one I was going to cut out and make a friend. Now, unfortunately, I've buttered my friend, but then my friend will be more buttery, which is good. The fats in the butter would help preserve the friend from the mould which will otherwise develop, which is going to be the central part of my next question. How long did Tim last before he rotted? And what did you feel when you saw Tim, who you'd created,
I stopped listening
rotting?
about 10 minutes ago. What are you asking me?
I'm asking what happened about the rotting of Tim.
I don't remember a rotting.
How old were you when you made Tim?
7 or 8.
And how old were you when you stopped being interested in Tim?
29.
And what did he do, Tim?
Did you never have an imaginary friend? He was just...
This wasn't an imaginary friend. This is a friend that just happens to be made out of a piece of toast.
Did you make him, you know, in your own image?
I do remember designing big legs because I wanted him to be a fast runner like what I was.
Where did Tim sleep?
In the toaster.
I mean, did you take him to bed?
All right, then, David's team, I think you've heard enough.
What do you think, Claudia?
I think it's true. I'd be very happy to make a small piece of toast friend.
I think true.
I don't know, so I'm happy to go with true, yes.
You're saying it's true?
I'm saying it's true.
OK, Miranda, is it true or is it a lie?
It is, in fact... I
am launching my own range of condiments, including Omid Djalili Piccalili.
So, if you're not, you've got to.
Who approached you about launching a range of condiments?
Penguin Books.
It's true. That's where their money comes from.
Barry Norman has a range of pickled onions out.
Through Penguin Books?
I don't know about Penguin Books,
Well, yes,
but Barry Norman does have jars of pickled onions.
Well, like Paul Newman with his salad.
No, he does.
Salad, yeah.
It was. That was the idea. They were trying to make this Paul Newman thing happen. I said, I've only done a few bit parts in a few films. And they said, well, you're quite well known in comedy, and we're trying to get this new thing, Djalili Piccalili. There'll be other products as well, Djalili Chili, all kinds of things with Lily at the end.
So why did Penguin Books? I mean, just... Is it to go with a book?
They wanted me to write a book, but I didn't feel I was old enough or experienced enough to write anything about my life.
So you said, how about I do some sort of sauces and spices and...
I didn't, they did. There was somebody who was in the meeting who has a sideline in condiments.
So Penguin Books said, we'd love you to do a book. And you said, no, I won't do a book. OK, oh dear, he won't do a book. That was a good idea. Any chance of some condiments? Because in the office next door, there's a guy, and basically he's just been working on some pickled onions with Barry Norman. He was brilliantly, your name rhymes with some condiments.
Yes.
Particularly Piccalili, which we're trying to introduce to a new generation.
Reintroduce
That's not his real name. His real surname is Jabasco Sauce.
I'm not really prepared to say anymore.
I think it's gone so weird that it's true. I think...
Well, stranger things have happened, but I think only about 6 ever.
The books thing can't be true. It can't be true, can it?
It's such a strange thing to make up if it's a lie that it makes me think it's true.
You see, I think what I'm worried that we're in danger of doing here is having heard something that is absurd and obviously not true and saying that therefore it must be true.
So, come on, what's it going to be?
I think we think it's a lie, but I'd like to say if it is true, it's what a wonderful world.
You're saying it's a lie.
It's a
OK,
lie,
Omid Djalili, is it fact or is it fiction?
It's absolute crap.
The only concert I have ever been to was by Shirley Bassey.
And where was that?
It was at the bit of Wembley that's not a football stadium, but is nevertheless a very large
the tube station?
No, I think the arena.
The arena?
Mm-hmm.
And who did you go with?
I went with a friend of mine called John.
And what period was this?
It was the 18th century. I think about 7 or 8 years ago.
Was she surprisingly good?
She was pretty good. She was incredibly loud.
You don't expect that, do you, at a concert?
Can you remember any of the songs she sang?
I think she sang all the, like, Goldfinch, she definitely sang diamonds are forever as well. And
I can't help thinking you know nothing about Shirley Bassey, but you've watched a lot of James Bond films.
I can't believe you've never been to a classical concert.
OK.
So what do you think, Lee? It's a curious
I don't
one.
know. I can believe David doesn't strike me as the type of person that
would go to loads of gigs.
Yeah, so it is possible that he's not been to a concert before. It's a lie.
Yeah.
What do you think, Gabby?
He's very clever, though, isn't he?
Well, he's not that clever. I mean, it's all a facade. I'm actually the clever one.
The gut.
This is an act. When we go backstage, I'm like, David, marvellous performance, and he's like, they fell for it again, didn't they? So we're saying...
I think, like you, it's a lie.
OK, my team say it's a lie, so we'll say that that is indeed a lie.
You're saying it's a lie. OK, David, is it true?
It is true.
I kept my car running for 2 months by cracking an egg into it every day.
David's team, is that possible?
When you say cracking eggs into it, where do you mean in the petrol tank or in the...
In the petrol tank. Oh, you fool. Do you know nothing of cars and eggs?
Not egg-running cars.
Well, if you, in a car, you have a radiator. If the radiator cracks, all the water comes out.
Yeah.
But, interestingly, if you put an egg in the radiator, it congeals. And it seals the hole in the radiator because the egg cooks and...
So why didn't you go and get it fixed?
Well, that's a good question. See, Trini, I couldn't afford it. So I thought, it's about 150 quid to get the radiator replaced now. It was my first car. So
the eggs must have cost you 100 quid.
No, they weren't free range, darling. No. I'm talking really cruel eggs.
Did you do an egg a day?
Cruel and cheap, they used to be called.
Did you do an egg a day?
I can pump out 50 a day was the advert. Who needs to move his head? That's where the advert... Who needs to move his head? 50 a day, that's me.
So what do you think? Is it true or is it a lie?
Can't be true.
What do you think?
I think it's a lie.
OK, lie.
You're saying it's a lie. Lee, tell us the truth.
It is, in fact.
True.
Oh, yeah. I used to run a market stall that only sold hats for dogs.
Lee's team, this shouldn't take long.
Flannel!
What year was this?
It was in There we go. 19...
Larry, we're supposed to go. Here we go. You don't do it by yourself.
No, it was in the 1960s.
The 1960s?
Yeah.
And this was your own business?
I was a lad. I was still at school.
You were still at school? And you thought, I'm going to hit up the booming dog hat market?
Yeah. I was pretty enterprising lad, I tell you.
Can you give me some...
In Harlow.
What was your top seller?
Harlow. The top seller was a plaid one, funnily enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to ask about sizes, because obviously the sizes of dogs...
There were only 3 sizes.
What were they?
They were, well, small, medium and large.
It's a complex system, Carol.
My key question is, how did a dog keep the hat on?
You put it over its ears.
So you crushed its ears?
No, you don't crush it. No, well, I mean, this was the 60s. You didn't worry about those things anyway. But...
People talk about the 60s ago. In the 60s, it was wild, crazy. I've never heard anyone. It was crazy. We used to crush dogs' ears and we'd think of them monkeys. Honestly, crazy time.
Did you make the hats yourself, or did you buy them from somebody else and then sell them on?
No, they were being made in China.
They were being made in China. So you had links with China, despite the fact you were at school. You're chasing this life.
Was it just dog hats?
Yeah. The main item then in the 60s, for some strange reason, in Harlow, was that all they
Only in Harlow?
Lee, the moment has now come within the game where you guess whether it's the truth or a lie.
All the evidence seems to suggest
it's a great big fat porky.
Yes. That'd be a good name for one of his hats.
So you're saying it's a lie?
It's got to be a lie.
Lie. It's a lie.
OK. Larry, is it the truth or is it a lie?
It's a lie.
The D in my name stands for delicious.
Obviously, why?
Well, it was the late 60s when I was born, 1969. There are a lot of black men my age around that time being given names like Reginald and Winston and Delicious because... Because at that time in America, affirmative action had just started. So black women saw an opportunity for their children to get more jobs. So what they did was, we're going to give him a name that will enable him to be, you know, recognizable yet dignified to potential employers. And
Delicious is dignified.
well, I mean, you have to understand how it's a little different in the black community than it is in your white world. And so, like the name Delicious commands great respect in the ghetto. You probably don't listen to much rap music, do you, Fern? Then there's MC Delicious, Big Papa Delicious,
French Golden.
Where did Reginald come from?
Reginald is a German name. It means mighty or wise power. And delicious means very tasty.
What was your father's name?
My father's name is Homer.
And what was his middle bit?
He didn't have a middle name.
No.
He grew up in the 30s and 40s, and it was very tough times for black people, and he couldn't afford a middle name.
And do you have brothers and sisters?
I do indeed.
And what are their names?
Well, there's Brenda, there's Kathy, there's Oliver, there's Scrumptious.
I don't think people would have thought that calling you delicious would help you get jobs, except as a food. Well, I think, shall we say it's a lie? I think that's what we're heading towards.
I think stupid, but it's true.
So you're saying it's a lie?
Yes.
OK, Reg, is it the truth or is it a lie?
It is a lie.
Possession.
OK, there's a box under the desk, if you'd like to bring it up, and read out the card therein.
Well, this is some of my hair collection that I gathered from guests who appeared on the word. Rodwell and Emu. MC Hammer. And Kurt Cobain's hair.
All right, there we are.
Where did you manage to get this hair from?
I would ask the makeup women to take it off the brush.
So they were brushing Emu?
Well, emu have to... It kind of sheds.
Would you mind if I had a look? I'd quite like to see
Come over.
Some of MC Hammer's little curlies in a Regal packet.
That phrase has never been said in the history of mankind.
Well, be careful, because there's only...
What are you smelling for?
It smells like heroin. That's never Rod Hull's hair. Look at that. That's not even real hair. Oh, look at MC Hammer's in a little baggie in it.
Oh, hey, don't open it.
That's never MC Hammer's hair, I'm telling you. Have a look at that. That's not MC Hammer's hair. I know MC Hammer's hair.
This is like a really low-budget CSI.
Something to do with a pot.
Now it's turned into Antiques Roadshow. Which is, I can see you on, actually, David.
I would have that insured for 2, maybe 3 pence.
So what are you going to front for?
You know, the thing that really is most convincing is that this is definitely an old cigarette packet.
I think it's a big, hairy lie.
But now he's doing that smile.
I hate this game. I think we're going to say lie, aren't we?
It's a lie.
I'll agree.
Right. You're saying it's a lie. OK, Terry, is it truth or is it a lie?
Get your hair, baby. Lie.
I once put out a fire using my neighbour's milk.
Aldi's team, is that possible?
Was it a very small fire?
It was It was, you know, a fire... Say, for example, that desk was on fire. It was about that big. And it wasn't just one neighbour's, it was about 15 neighbours.
15 neighbours? What time of day was this?
In the morning, when the milk came.
One of your neighbours were up early enough to bring the milk.
It was a Saturday. It's a Saturday, they have a lie-in and you get double milk because of the Sunday, you know.
So what was on fire, please?
It's just on like a field, there was like some dried grass.
Just a bonfire, then?
Well, no, we just thought, oh, look at that dried grass, let's set it on fire. And, you know, that's what you do when you're 25. I think we were about 8 or 9.
But basically, you're an arsonist. You started the fire.
Yes.
And then stole some milk in order to put it out. When it could have just burnt out quite happily on its own. There was no need, really, to pour...
Yeah, but at 8, I've not got this knowledge of fire. I'd seen 3 episodes of London's Burning. I don't know why...
I'm not sure that adds up, Jason. How long's London Burning been on?
I think you can believe him. He's seen London's Burning.
I'm not sure London's Burning, the programme, was on.
So you're disputing when London's Burning first came onto our screen?
Yes, that's it, yeah.
Right, Jason was born in 1981, so he is alleging that by 1989, London's Burning was already on television. I believe him.
1981, he looks like me uncle.
Anyway, can we get back to the story? How far did you have to go to get the milk?
I was a kid, I didn't measure it. I mean, about...
Give us a rough...
12.5 metres.
About 12.5
metres.
Why don't you just get a knock at the door and say, quick, the field's on fire?
Because then that would be admitting that there was a fire, whereas in this instant, the only thing that happened was a milkman got sacked for not delivering milk.
So there was, just to clarify, before we say our decision, you took how many bottles of milk to put out the fire?
15 or so.
15?
15, 10.
Well, I take you back to your earlier answer, which was 15 houses, and on a Saturday they got double milk.
He's very fair-minded. He took 1 pint from each.
So what are you going to say, Lee? What are you going for here?
Oh,
I don't know now.
The whole answer was delivered in such an implausible and frankly guilty-sounding way.
What do you think, Miranda?
I think it's a truth.
Well, Jason, where were you brought up?
Manchester.
Yeah, you see, I was brought up around Manchester, and I can imagine the bit about you saying, all right, let's go in there and set fire to a field. Believable. Yeah. You go, oh, no, that's a bit big. Better put it out with some milk and be good citizens. Yeah. Doesn't really sort of add up.
So what are you gonna plump for?
You're saying the truth.
Truth.
You're saying a lie.
Yeah.
I'll go with Miranda and say we think that's the truth.
You're saying it's the truth. OK, so, Jason, is it the truth?
It is a truth.
I wrote my will on a bit of cardboard when I thought the plane I was in was about to crash.
Oh, there we are.
Right. No, but certainly, yes, she was, I'd say, trying to make it look like she was amazed by the ridiculous thing on the card.
Like that.
But maybe she was amazed by the ridiculous thing on the card, because I imagine if a plane crashed, one of the things that would perish along with the humans would be the cardboard. So,
Are you asking me to comment on that?
I think he's just suggesting that you should have written your will on the black box.
Yeah.
I mean, that's logistically impossible. Aren't they locked in their cabins now? Sorry to argue with you.
No, you see, I don't think that the black box solution was workable either.
OK.
I think when they talk about when they find the black box, what they do is it's a recording they play rather than say read what's written on it.
Don't you mean I could have got in the pilot's cabin and just screamed my will at them?
You could have actually gone on the radio and say, never mind, Mayday, Mayday, take this down.
Was it cardboard and not paper?
It was a packet.
A packet
of what?
Do you always look this cheesed off when you're thinking?
I've got so many cogs whirring in my brain. I'm just trying to control them.
So many what? Sorry?
Cogs.
Oh.
Like you, Rob. My IQ makes double figures.
I think it's triple figures you're aiming at.
It was a film packet.
Why did you think it would work?
I was panicking. Yeah. The bloody plane was crashing. You're not logical, are you?
What were you writing? I mean, were you writing, like, bits and bobs to each person, or was it, like, everything?
I was leaving everything to the person I was with.
Oh,
he was in the plane.
Everything has to come through me, right?
So, presumably, it didn't crash, because thankfully you're with us, and, you know...
No, we thought it was going to crash.
Yeah.
And the plane had problems with the landing gear.
Well, David, you've heard a fair old testimony
Well,
here.
I don't think... Janet doesn't strike me as a
She will do by the end of the night.
All right. And I think to write a will on something that will burn more quickly than you will is a moronic act.
But the only thing that worries me was the beginning when she looked at it. I felt that she was acting.
Yeah.
When you're thinking all along, she knows exactly what she's reading because it's the truth.
I think it was a bit double bluff at the beginning. I think it's probably true.
Yeah. And you're leaning towards true.
It could be true.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I just don't think it is true, but I'm happy to be outvoted. We think it's true.
You say it's true. Janet, is it fact or fiction?
True.
Oh.
Yes, I was right. How did you get there?
I can't eat custard creams because they remind me of Spencer Whitfield, who bullied me at school.
David, what did Spencer Whitfield do to you?
He pinned me down with his mates and he force-fed me custard creams.
Why not just beat you up? Why did they want to feed you custard cream? Did you look thin?
The kind of lessons we had was, believe it or not, in secondary school, right, we'll go around the class and you've all got to tell us your favourite biscuit. One you like, one you hate.
And what subject was this?
It was home economics. And
did you do A-level home economics?
No, I didn't do A-levels, obviously. Look at me.
What do you think the effect of A-levels on the face are? You can see I've got the scars and everything.
The type of school you went to, if you were a boy, you couldn't do home economics, you would have been doing woodwork.
Yeah, no, I think you're mixing me up with the film Ken. Where it was a choice between kestrels and coal. I was allowed to choose home economics.
I wasn't.
Why did you choose that subject above kestrels
Do you know
or
why?
coal?
Genuinely, I thought it was about money. I thought I'd learn how to use money in a sensible way. And I got in there, and it was full of the kids that wanted to do cooking and needlecraft.
Who were big bullies.
So, David, what are you going to say?
I don't think it's true, really, but...
No.
You're pretty
saying it's a
set
lie.
on it being a lie. OK, fair enough. Lee, is it true or is it a lie?
It's a lie.
I have a three-part ritual I have to adhere to before I go on stage.
David's team, how true is this?
OK, what are the three parts?
Firstly, there's a sweet that I have to have before I feel comfortable.
A sweet?
A sweet.
Part two?
Part two is...
I may have to hurry it.
Is putting on a spray. Is spraying me with... so I smell
insecticide.
Nice. I smell nice for the ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
What spray? What spray?
Madame Rochard. Because I'm in Hairspray, and she's a woman, and so I put.
So it's a recent thing since you were in Hairspray. Or...
It depends.
It's theme.
A different smell for every thing I do.
What did you do when you were in Cats?
I didn't do Cats.
What's the third part?
And the third part?
Tapping.
Tapping.
What do you tap?
Tapping. Parts of my body.
I don't think we need to go any further.
Can you demonstrate?
Yes. You go there, and then you go there, and your hands.
Right, tapping your hands, yeah.
Well, there we are. There are lots of people around the country, just like Michael, who need your help. Please send whatever you can. David's team, what do you think?
This thing about tapping, I know about tapping, and you started doing it correctly and then you stopped because I thought, are you giving too much away if you continue tapping correctly?
But you didn't even do this. This is where doctors do it.
It's probably not if you have a lung disease.
To be fair, Reece, he's never claimed to be a doctor, I think.
Well, there was the once, but...
That was just to get you to the next stage, wasn't it?
There can't be a perfume for every character you play in musicals.
No, I wouldn't have thought so.
Yeah, but it could
That's
be...
what you're saying.
No, I said for this character. Yeah, you're right.
Madame Rorschach, whatever you called yourself. Is it real?
Yeah, but it's not one you'd associate with hairspray. I'd associate Charlie or something with hairspray.
He does that in the dressing room as well, actually.
Those were the old days.
My feeling is that it's a lie at the moment.
I think he's telling the truth.
So you're drifting,
When pushed on the
towards a
fingers,
lie?
it was too vague, yes.
Well, it's 2-1. We reckon it's a lie.
You're saying it's a lie.
Yeah.
OK, Michael, what is the answer?
It is, in fact, the truth.
As a child, at my grandparents' house, I had a little bell that I would ring if I wanted anything.
Lee, why did you have a bell?
Well, there was a bell. It was a pre-existent bell. There was a bell in the house, and I liked it.
Only at the grandparents' house?
Yes.
Not at home?
Because your parents didn't play that shit.
At home, you just sort of went... So how old were you?
About 6.
What were the things you wanted when you rang the bell?
More chips. A glass of orange squash. Sense of purpose in life.
Was it both grandmother and grandfather that would come and wait on you hand and foot, or was it just one or the other?
I was a small child. I was indulged to a certain extent, but then also to a certain extent there was... Can you actually just stop ringing your bell now? OK.
So, Lee's team, what do you think?
The parents could easily have had a bell, and the little brat could have just...
I liked the bell. I liked ringing the bell.
He liked ringing the bell. Is it true or is it a lie?
Reginald, delicious hunter.
Well, sausage roll, I believe that there's a simplicity to the story that rings true.
I'll go with that.
Go on, then. We'll say that that's true.
You're saying it's true. David, is it true or is it a lie?
Well, it is, in fact, true.
I worked as a podium dancer at the Ministry of Sound.
You were a podium dancer at where, sorry?
Yeah. At the Ministry of Sound.
And what does that involve? I don't say just dancing. I mean, what did you have to wear, for example?
Usually we'd get a phone call and they'd let us know if there was any colour theme. And then at certain points in the evening, they would just gather up those of us who were employed to do it and put us on a podium to get the crowd going.
And what sort of tunes were you dancing to?
This was early 90s, so, you know, early 90s house music.
Like what? Name one.
Hello.
I
can't help you here.
No. I think the nature of that kind of music was that they were relatively indistinct tunes designed to create an atmosphere across the entire evening.
Well, that's a stroke.
But I mean, you know,
well, there is an easy way to tell if he's telling the truth, which is. Would you like to show us?
Not particularly.
Well, come on.
That's what I'm doing. I'm now a sort of moderately plump man in my mid-30s. It doesn't have quite the same impact.
Oh, come on, what do you mean, moderately?
Where did they find you?
Their own people just sort of talent spotted me.
They talent scouted you?
Yeah.
Marcus, it was a part-time job. Now, what else were you doing? What other jobs were you doing at the time?
I was working on an oil rig.
Oh, okay.
I worked for 9 months on an oil rig, doing 4 weeks on, and in the 2 weeks off, I would go and do.
This is like your own private flash dance.
It's in that area. Yeah.
What were you doing on the?
You were welding, and then you were dancing. Flash dance is based on your life.
What did your oil rig friend people? Did you tell them what you were doing part time?
Yeah, I used to practice on the rig.
You did not.
An oil rig is just a massive podium.
So, Lee, what are you going to say? What do you think? Is he telling the truth?
It's got a lot of YMCA qualities, this tune. Come on, boys.
Not only do I think this is true, I think this is the most dignified and wonderful way for Marcus to come out on television.
It's so stupid, in a way, and unbelievable, that it could be true as a double bluff. But no, a lie as a double bluff, and he's made it mad, and he's thrown the oil rig thing in, which might be true, to go with the lie.
Can I just say,
it's a lie.
Of the 3 series we've done so far, I've never asked someone, and at the end of it, had less information than when I...
That's why you're the team captain, and I'm on the end now, getting quipped again by you both. You're like Radio 4 panel show bullies. So, I would say...
Radio 4? I've never been so happy in all my life. Do you really think that, Terence?
Yes. I'm telling you that he's lying.
Did you not see the dance move? Did you not see his crazy...
I was going to say, I didn't believe any of this, but I think Jimmy's probably... That was a move, wasn't it?
So what are you going to go for, Lee?
We'll say it's true.
OK, Marcus, is it truth or is it a lie?
It is, in fact, true.
Oh, possession.
Now, there's a box just behind the stage there, Claudia, if you'd like to get the box.
Hold on, bear with me.
Take out its contents.
OK. In here is my pet cat from when I was little, and my dad had her stuff for me when she died.
Oh.
Here she is.
Oh. Can I just pop her on the desk there, Claudia?
Was she run over? Did you want your father to stuff your cat?
No, but I was so devastated, I was so upset that she died. So my dad, as a present, gave her to me, all stuffed, and she came to my wedding.
Sorry. Came to your wedding?
I think Lee, not of her own accord.
Was she a bridesmaid and came down on a trolley?
No.
Claudia, sorry, can you just remind us again how your poor little cat died?
Yes, well, she got sick.
And were you pleased with this dead cat?
Stuffed cat.
I was very pleased because she's sort of lucky. Like, if you're anyone's
She's
near
lucky?
her...
I would hate to see what happened to the unlucky one. What are we saying?
I want this to be true, because it'll be funny. It'll be funny if it's true.
I just don't believe Claudia, even in Claudia's world, which I love. However, this is a step too far. I just don't believe... Well,
That's pretty convincing.
What the hell? She looks like a very lovely but slightly unstable woman, and I'm going to say that that's true.
You're saying it's true? OK, Claudia Winkleman, is it true or is it a lie?
It is indeed a lie.
Oh, what a